the 4 things that I'm taking away from bodybuilding prep. So these all have to do with how to get as absolutely peeled as possible and still maintain some semblance of your grip on reality. Because bodybuilding is tough. And, the amount of effort required to go from, let's say, 10% body fat to 7% body fat for a guy is intense. And it requires an extreme amount of self-control. And the other piece to it is how to bring your body to that point without an excessive amount of strain on the nervous system, because you need your nervous system to function in order to continue to do the work and to show up on stage and actually look like you want to be there. And so here's the 4 things that I'm still incorporating, even though I'm not in prep anymore. They're just solid habits for maintaining a lean physique that isn't super inflamed, right? And so the 4 things are egg whites, walks, as an ambulation, low inflammatory vegetables, aka low FODMAP foods. We'll talk about what that means. And calorie-free or low-calorie condiments and noodles. Spoiler alert, watch to the end. These noodles will blow your mind. Let's start with the first one. Egg whites. So there's a small part of me, the ecological tree hugger in me, that wonders what the fuck is happening to the yolks that came with these egg whites. But I'm going to suspend my disbelief or my curiosity, because probably they're just getting thrown away, and that's a travesty, because there's so many good micronutrients in egg yolks that if you're not trying to be as peeled as possible, you absolutely want. That is not the purpose of this video. We want to actually feel like we're eating food, like a sustainable amount of food. Can't think of the actual word I wanted. Sufficient amount of food, that might be it. Without going nuts on calories. And egg whites are pretty awesome because it's basically just protein, but it's like puffy protein that you can chew for a while and doesn't have that. It's a very macronutrient, it's not very macronutrient dense, meaning like it's like carrots. Like you can eat a shit ton of carrots before you really have to worry about the carbs in your carrots. And like you get to eat a shit ton of egg whites before you have to worry about the calories in your egg whites. And the calories that are in the egg whites are protein, so it's a win-win. So I was eating 8 ounces. I was eating a cup of egg whites every single day for breakfast, in addition to a few other things. And I've kept that habit. So because I'm still kind of reversing out of the intense prep phase pre-show, so I'm trying to strategically and incrementally rebuild my calories. And so having a bunch of egg whites for breakfast helps me feel like I'm getting a good solid meal without really splurging. So what that looks like for me now is, well, I'll give you 2 scenarios. One is when I was actually in prep and I ate just egg whites with a little bit of almond butter. I got this recipe from my teammate, by the way, who shot a reel about this earlier. Marco Rondazza, the Marco Rondazza special. Marco's tiramisu, we'll call it. He can send me royalties, Marco. Egg whites, almond butter, a little bit of vanilla protein. I ended up putting 1/4 of a serving just because I wanted a little bit of flavor. Not necessarily because of the protein, but just like that vanilla flavor. Cinnamon and coffee. Coffee is the secret ingredient. So Marco would cold brew his coffee and then add that to this breakfast slop. In addition to the other ingredients, it tastes like tiramisu. Pretty wild. That's obviously like very low calorie, very strict, actual bodybuilding prep food. What I do now, it's a little bit more lenient. So I'll have a couple of actual like full eggs, and then I'll cook up in the same pan my egg whites. And then I'll serve that with with my breakfast. I have breakfast, a sit-down breakfast on the weekends. There's some sourdough bread involved, butter, some smoked salmon, some greens, some sprouts, some cheese, some combination of these things. And just having, an extra 8 ounces of egg whites on my plate just really helps me feel like I'm getting like an awesome full meal, but very lean, lots of protein. So that's the first one. The second one, walks. I was aware of the benefits of neat, non-exercise athletic training. NEPA is the one that I like more, non-exercise physical activity. Whatever acronym you want to use, it's you moving your ass without actually working out. doing yard work, doing chores, going for a walk. If you work a physical job, that totally counts too. And I was aware of the benefit to one's metabolism and ultimate like calorie expenditure per day with these things, but I hadn't really leveraged it in any major way for myself. And then, here comes bodybuilding prep. And you have to find every way that you can in order to burn calories without adding strain or stress to your system. Because my previous favorite thing to do was interval training. I love high intensity training for cardio because I'm such a big fan of efficiency. I love the idea that I can take 5 minutes or like a 4-minute Tabata or like a 10-minute, like hit interval and like every minute on the minute and just absolutely crush my work capacity and then leverage this excess post-exercise oxygen consumption, EPOC effect to burn a ton of calories after I'm done. But when you're bodybuilding, you can't do that, especially not like the deeper into prep you get because it's pretty rough on your system, rough on your joints, it's rough on your ability to recover, and you'll be very sad and end up not losing fat because they're still depleted and you can't recover. So walking is the ideal, well, in addition to some low intensity cardio, steady state cardio, which also takes a shit ton of time. But walking, I dig a lot because I'm not just plugging away on a treadmill or on an elliptical or a Stairmaster. Number one, there's a myriad of things I can do. I can have a meeting, I can do a virtual call, I can do a walk and talk with another human being, or I can simply get out and smell the roses and absorb the cosmic rays and get healed by Mother Nature, to bum a phrase from Malibu. And so, walking has continued to be a gigantic part of my routine. I actually worked my schedule around being able to go for at least 1 hour walk per day. Like I spread out my calls on my virtual meetings. So that way I could have at least one thing per day where it's like, I could go for a walk for this. And that has made an incredible difference and really bumped up my, physical activity without really stressing my system out. And like I said, you can be like, if you're, a slave to productivity like I am, then you can be just as productive on like walking, probably even more so walking around than if you're just like sitting at a desk and doing, whatever it is, having whatever meeting. And so, because it gets the juices flowing, it gets your brain, you get a change of state, and it's just refreshing. It just breathes a new, a fresh wind of life into cognitive capabilities. And so walking for sure. 10,000 steps per day, I think, is a very doable goal, especially if you include some amount of resistance training in there. And then you have these, wearable devices that will kind of translate that into a steps equivalent. Very doable. Very doable. But with the one, it seems like my average pace is like 1,000 steps per 10 minutes. So a 10-minute walk. Oh, here's the other thing. 10-minute walk, 1,000 steps, 30 minutes. You can do the math. Postprandial walks, meaning after a meal, is where it's especially powerful because it lowers blood glucose when you walk. And so I can eat a meal and then go for a walk immediately after, and it gets kind of like the juices flowing, and it's turning on my muscles without straining them. And so it's a very potent nutrient partitioning agent, meaning it's a signal to my body to put nutrients in my muscles instead of in my fat cells. Who doesn't want that? Literally no one. So walks, even just 10 minutes right after you're done eating, game changer, absolute game changer. My family and I have been doing this after our dinner meals. Now that it's nice out, it's still light in the evening time. We'll just cruise down our street and back 10 minutes. Well, it ends up being more because the kids, bring their shenanigans along. And it's awesome. Good little family time, get out. Like I said, enjoy some fresh air. And, send the signal to the body to put nutrients in muscle cells instead of fat cells. It's a win-win-win. So that's number 2. Number 3. What is number 3? Oh yeah, the FODMAP thing. So understand that there's this big range in vegetables in terms of the digestive strain that they put you under. You might think, veggies are veggies. It's all good. Fiber, micronutrients, awesome. Yeah, good for my guts. Not the case, my friend. Not the fucking case. And it turns out that there's this, this thing called the FODMAP. So it's basically a list of the different polysaccharide, a list of the different types of starches that are found in vegetables. And these starches are hard to digest. They're hard to digest. Believe it or not, we're not tremendously adapted to digest plant matter. We're actually much easier for us to digest animal foods, animal-based foods. That's a video for another day. Conversational grenade, depending on who you're talking to. And of course, you could argue till the cows come home about it. But all that aside, no one will argue the fact that certain vegetables are actually harder to digest. And the reason is because these high FODMAP foods, the foods that contain a higher concentration of these particular starches, require additional help in order to digest them fully. Like your gut and my gut can't do the job completely on our own. And so what happens is these foods must be fermented. These starches must be fermented in our gut and then get digested, which sounds whack, but I mean, we have a microbiome. There's, we eat fermented foods. We eat that have been fermented before they go down our gullet. It's not that outlandish. But the process of fermentation releases it's got byproducts. And so ideally the fermentation is happening outside your body, and then you eat the foods that's been fermented already and no problem. Minimal strain on the gut. But if it's happening inside, gurgliness, bloating, gas, and just digestive distress in general. And so foods that contain these FODMAPs that are the highest in FODMAPs are gonna bloat you. They're gonna give you farts, and they're going to inflame your body and make you look soft and shitty. So cabbage is like the worst offender, which is why I think our ancestors decided to ferment that shit and make sauerkraut and kimchi, because it's like, let's outsource. Let's have microbes do the work for us. That way we don't have, Dutch oven, our partners. Marlene, you're a saint. You're a saint. So cabbage, broccoli, all of the crucifers, Brussels sprouts, these are like absolutely not. Like, I'd avoid these with don't touch it with a 10-foot pole, especially if you're in a calorie restricted state and your body is have a strict diet, your body's especially sensitive to these things. Medium would be things like asparagus. I think, just in terms of FODMAPs, I'm not saying please eat spinach or kale, because I don't recommend you eat spinach or kale. But in terms of FODMAPs, not that bad. Green beans is actually is on the low FODMAP side. So green beans, cucumbers, carrots, you can eat a lot of these. Oh, cauliflower is in the crucifer category with broccoli. Fucking don't eat cauliflower or riced cauliflower, which I had to find out the hard way because I was like, ooh, I thought I hacked the system with a riced cauliflower from Whole Foods. No, can't do it. So if you're going to have these crucifers, ferment them first. But if you're deep in prep, then there's a case to be made for avoiding fermented foods as well. So yeah, but that's not going to apply to most of you. Sauerkraut, I recommend to pretty much everyone. Just be careful. Just like, don't go nuts on the, I had buffalo roasted cauliflower at a party once, and I was trying to minimize the calories that I was eating. I wanted to still feel like I was eating something and full and in the mix. So I ate like a shit ton of these cauliflowers, man. And the buffalo sauce, that was a lethal combination. This was a couple years ago. It was a Super Bowl party, I think. Yeah. Oh, man. All right, so the last one, the low to no calorie condiments and the magic noodle. So mustard, soy sauce, hot sauce, these vinegar, apple cider vinegar, these you can have with impunity. And unless you're literally like drinking it, you don't have to really worry about, it's minimal amount of calories, especially for a general pop who's just trying to eat some yummy foods and stay lean, right? So highly recommend these. Like, you can basically put these on anything at any time and not have to worry about it. And you should favor these things instead of the dressings and even like sriracha. Like, if you look at it, it's got sugar in it. So don't be fooled. I said hot sauce, but I did not mean sriracha. Like, I mean actual hot sauce. Tabasco's like borderline. Like, it's basically vinegar with peppers in it. So you can do that. And then the last, mustard, soy sauce. Soy sauce is great, but definitely get the tamari, because there's no wheat in it. It's just fermented soy. And just purely from a health perspective, hands down the way to go. So when I say soy sauce, I really mean tamari. Last but not least, konjac noodles, or otherwise known as shirataki noodles. So they come from the konjac plant, and this konjac plant looks like a Franken potato, and it's like just mangy and gangly looking. And it's got this fiber in it, glucose something, mannamin, and it's essentially no calorie. It's ridiculous. And so the Japanese, in their infinite ingenuity, I think it's Japanese. Let's see. Speaking of racist, have they figured out how to turn this tuber vegetable into noodles? Like they're translucent noodles that you can eat an entire bowl of them, and it's 15 calories. No, I did not stutter. 15 calories. It's absolutely insane. And it's super satisfying. So that I would not have made it through prep without these things. I'll tell you that right now. And the best part about it is you don't even have to cook these things. Like they come ready to go soft noodles. You just rinse them with hot water. So that way then they warmed them up a little bit, excuse me. And then just like dump my meat on top, soy sauce, ready to go. Some green beans. And that was that, and carrots. Like that was my meal. That was my dinner, like every single night. And so, if you're trying to achieve a calorie deficit, but you want to feel like you're eating carbs for dinner, you're having a substantive meal, having something to go along with your meat, then Konjac noodles is the answer. So check those out. That's all I have to say about that. If you guys found value in this video and this content, by all means, share, like, subscribe, and drop a comment if you've tried these strategies and you have some feedback, if they're working for you, if you have any questions, if you're looking for how to implement them into a more cohesive strategy for fat loss that doesn't take all the time in the world and it still allows you to show up in your business and for your family, by all means let me know. I'd love to help out, and I'll see you guys on the next video.